Okay, so
Please be advised, the following program is for adult audience only. Explicit language is used. You have been warned.
yep, mainly Questo.
Fuck you.
Welcome to Let Me Ask You a Question, episode 9.
9.
I'm your host, Mike D,
This is Quest.
and today this show is simply titled What the Hell Really?
I don't like it.
I don't care what you don't
We
like.
should have gone with really though. Really though. It has a better ring to it.
What the hell really? See, simple stuff like this is the reason why I titled this show like this.
No.
Alright, if you haven't already gotten the vibe from this moment right now, this show is about the shit that pisses us the fuck off.
Like your face.
Like Quest's existence.
Your life is a joke.
Okay. Anyway.
So let me tell you a story about what happened at work.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, so I was at work and somebody at work likes to express how smart their kids are, and the kid knows particle physics, and he's 8. And mind you, I am all for children learning things. I am not against it. Now, the issue I have is when people, I feel as though they over exaggerate how smart their kids are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they go as far as your child knows more than college students. I think it's a little bit of exaggeration when your child can't do division. I'm just saying, with particle physics, it's a lot of math. If you can't do with 20 divided by 4, I see some inconsistencies here. It's not the simple fact that they don't know. I don't blame the child. Mm-hmm. What I don't like is when people say my kid is smarter than college, or my kid is so smart that they're smarter than other people's kids. Your kid is not. See, I think when people take out of education when they feel as though kids can learn these complicated things at a young age, it's the difference between regurgitating information and understanding that information. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying a child can't learn physics. I'm saying they can't produce the math of how the physics works. You don't know physics.
Well, it's just not just children, because there are some kids out here with amazing talents and ability to learn and comprehend what you're saying.
Right.
But people, most of the time, people don't understand that you can get the general idea of a lot of things, but to actually say that you know it or that you're an expert in it, it's different. It's another step forward within to be able to quote the tiny, intimate details of a subject. That will be able to demonstrate. That will demonstrate at least to some extent of a sufficient amount of knowledge within it.
Right. I like to use the example of Neil deGrasse Tyson. All right. If you can take a complicated subject like physics or actual physics and break it down to layman's terms that the average person can understand, who has very little to no knowledge of physics in itself, to me that shows a mastery of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I look at it. You know, not just children but adults. I'm just going on the kid thing because I feel like you're trying to say your kid's smarter than me, which if he is great, but don't put down college students because they're going to school to learn something, and it may not be that particular field, but they're going to school to master a skill set.
So it's not necessarily the kid. Okay, so it's not even the kid thing at all. It's really the fact that this person is kind of putting down college education and is just basically trying to say you don't need to go to college to be smart.
Right, and here's the thing, and I'll agree to this. Going to college is not necessarily going to make you smart.
Okay.
It's a smart decision, yes, but as far as the knowledge you will gain, that's all on you. Like, you know, I'm a college student. It's my second time in college. I remember when I first went, I didn't see people who did not go to class at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen some people who did, even in high school. So and even myself, I know more than some people who are in college in certain areas because those are areas I'm interested in, and I delve more of my time in. I have spent time more in my own personal areas that I like to do than my actual major.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's all the way right. It just finds what you like. So if I like history more than that person, even though they're going to school for history, if I like it more, chances are I may have more of a knowledge base in that area because I probably might have delved more into it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I feel as though colleges should be a place where you have people who are learning different things, but can always come together to exchange their information to better the other person.
Okay.
And I'm all for that. But what I will not stand for is for you to insult or put down people who go to college. Mind you, to say that colleges are on the New York Stock Exchange, I feel as though you're a special kind of stupid.
But that's what that person is saying to you, that the college was on the New York Stock Exchange.
You're a special kind of stupid.
Yeah. And now there are some colleges that are on the New York Stock Exchange.
Well, and that's where I think she needs to differentiate. When you have for-profit colleges and what you do, but those more so like North American trade schools, ITT Tech, which are for-profit schools, which usually are trade schools, not necessarily colleges. Colleges, in most cases, are usually state-ran or private institutions, which in case they're still not for-profit because they're receiving funding from the federal government.
Not the private institutions, I wouldn't think.
Well, they do. They that's only if financial aid qualifies. You will see financial aid, but you won't get as much funding as state schools would. State schools are more so get their money based on how many students they retain, graduation rates, enrollment rates. Those things play factors. Now you do have schools like HBCUs, especially like Howard University, who do receive federal funds, but people, before you go on this rant about why HBCUs get it, do your research on why HBCUs receive this funding, because Howard and many HBCUs are special cases.
Okay. You know what? Funny thing about college, right? I had a conversation with somebody who didn't agree with the free education platform that Bernie Sanders is putting up. Okay, so let's start this from the beginning. I play a lot of online games. I play with a lot of people on Destiny, and I play Tamriel Online. But just so happens this time around, I'm playing on Destiny with a group of people. Of course, we're sitting around playing, shooting the boss, and someone brings up religion, which turns around and leads right into politics.
You know, I'm glad to play games online. Like, I really feel as I want to do it and get a headset because I can have a different conversation with people. And I feel as though it's a good platform.
Yeah, it's a good platform if you want to introduce yourself to different people around the world and in different countries. Now, back to what I was saying. So, someone asked me who would I vote for, and I said Bernie Sanders. Immediately they say, "Oh, he's an idiot." I go, huh, okay. And so I asked who would they vote for, and this is 5 other people I'm having a conversation with. All of them Ted Cruz supporters.
Well, in their defense, they didn't support Trump.
Okay.
So they're not.
Okay. So they didn't support the axe murderer, but they'll support the molester.
I didn't say they.
I'm not saying Ted Cruz is a molester. I'm not saying Donald Trump is an axe murderer.
I'm just saying you just choosing one evil for another.
I'm just saying they look like they could be both.
They both criminals. The point is, you're both criminals. Not saying they're criminals,
But we got, and as we we're discussing platforms, and I say one reason why I wanted to vote for Bernie Sanders was that I like the free college, the free health care, because it would allow society to flourish.
Right.
They said that was stupid, and why should I have to pay for your college? And why should I have to pay for your health care?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm on? Okay.
You're not on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let me finish the story.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, I then said to them, okay, um, the college thing actually helps you out in society. Period. The more educated someone is, the less likely they are to come and rob you, hurt you. You know, we've seen the correlations between intelligence and violence, and the smarter a society is, the less violent they are. Okay? And you're just not paying for my college, but you're also paying for your children's colleges. You're also paying for your own education, and therefore the country will become more productive.
Okay.
Let me hear your opinion on that.
Now, me being a college student and seeing how much debt a person can get into by trying to do better, by the sole purpose of trying to do better, you end up in debt. So that's not just for me. That's for anybody who's a college student. Now, I think what people don't feel or realize is when they say, well, why should I pay for you to go to college? I don't think they really understand how that works because you're paying taxes anyway.
Right.
So you're paying taxes is not just, your taxes don't just go to you. It goes for you and everybody else. Your roads being built, taxes. Your police officers, taxes. Your ambulance, taxes. Firefighters, taxes. Any public office is paid for by taxes. So for people to say, well, I don't want my money going there, then well, all right, then don't pay taxes. But let's see how many when your house gets on fire, who's paying for that fire engine? Now, as far as education goes, your school districts, the public school you kids go to, you and everybody else get taxes. So my thing is this: I would like people to think about. You're already going to pay taxes. Better your taxes go to something of quality than just get wasted paying for other people's salary. You know, that's how I feel about it.
And here's the part that actually made me even more angrier than I was, is that she said, why am I, well, one of them was a female, why am I being punished by paying taxes? And just for all those things that you just listed, those are where your taxes go, people. Okay? Taxes are not a punishment. You live here in America. You need to sustain the place where you live. And the part of sustaining the place where you live is also helping the people that live in the place with you.
And yourself.
And yourself. I'm sorry. Taxes are necessary. Okay? Here in America, we're supposed to have, everyone is supposed to be equal. We're all supposed to have equal opportunity to do everything. And unfortunately, we don't have that because we have a select amount of people who say, basically, your problem isn't my problem, even though you live next to me and you share the space with me.
And I'm going through the same problem more than 9 times out of 10. I'm going through the exact same
problem. And I should not have to help you. I don't want to help you. It's not my problem. That is a selfish way of looking at things.
And I agree. And like I said, at work, and I hear these conversations all the time, well, you have to do for you, and why is it my problem to help take care of you? But here's the thing. And the same people that say this will be the same people that turn back around and say, we believe, and they believe in oneness where everybody's connected and believe in all living everything together. Mm-hmm. But when you point out the issues on, all right, that's fine, and I agree to that, but here's where we had that problem. Here, and here that we need to fix. That ideology is cut off. It is go back to, well, you got to do for you. Or, and look, I'm all for, you got to want to help yourself. I'm all for that. But the problem is you have many people who have been trying to help themselves, and it's not enough. Yeah, look. Yes, I'm gonna say we live in a racist country. Institutional racism is real. Yes, you have many people who were disenfranchised and held back through generations because of Jim Crow laws, the black codes that came after the Civil War, and the code and the Jim Crow and the black codes that came after the Jim Crow laws were abolished. You had took a group of people and pushed them generations and generations and generations behind the rest of society. And they're just now starting to build back up. You know, not including all the laws and everything else, but the fact that when you have those individuals who go out and try to do better, they don't have access to those resources because they don't know about those resources, or the resources aren't given to them because they don't fit the status quo. And when people say, well, crime and all this, the fact is, if I had money to buy myself something to eat, I wouldn't have no reason to go out on the street and steal. Poverty breeds crime. I'm sorry. That is a clear correlation between poverty and crime. It is a clear correlation.
Okay. The next question that was posed to me out of the group that we were talking to was, do you believe in the raising of minimum wage to $15 an hour? Of course, I said yes. You know, living around in society, and I know people who bring home $300 every week. Their rent or their mortgage is $800, and so it takes 3 checks in order for them to pay just their rent. And we haven't even factored in eating, electricity, their communications, because everyone nowadays, you don't get a low cost cell phone. You have to pay for your communications, internet. All that is connected in order for you to be a functional adult in the society now.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, and so I was met with, that is dumb. They're just gonna bump up the cost of living.
Okay, here is, and then like you said, if you were intelligent, you would be able to have some forethought into this if you research. Now, I agree with putting a minimum wage for the simple fact, I'm not looking at it just from that fact of adults. I'm looking at teenagers who want to go get jobs, who want to. And let's be real, you have some teenagers in this country who are taking care of their moms, their dads, their siblings. So yes, raising that minimum to $15 an hour will help them a lot. Not only to mention that, it was a video of a Army veteran who came back. He could not find work except at a fast food restaurant. He doesn't have enough to pay his bills, and he's a veteran. Now, everybody wants to gripe about, war heroes and all this. Well, his is a war hero who cannot make ends meet working at a fast food place, and he needs the minimum wage to be raised, and he fought for this country. So, no, it's not about, well, is it going to raise the cost of living? So what? You have college students who are working minimum wage to pay through school. They need that extra help. And for a quick second, I know we break it down. Let me break down the price of college. I don't think people really understand the price of college. Mm-hmm. When I was at Howard, the tuition alone, just tuition for one semester, was between $15,000 to $16,000. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about a whole year, about $30,000 to $32,000 just for the year. That's just my tuition. That's not including my books. Mm-hmm. That's not including me buying my own toiletries. That's not including my meal plan. That's not including my room and board, which was a good $2,000 to $4,000, and that's me sharing a room with somebody. That's not including my meal plan, which was a good, I'm gonna say $500 to $1,500, around there. And now I had to buy my own toiletries. So when people say things like, "Oh, we don't need to raise minimum wage," in my personal opinion, either you're privileged not to ever have to work, or never really had to work, or you're an idiot, or you live in a place where the cost of living is so low, or somebody's taking care of you, or you getting government assistance that you would find to be just a stupid idea.
Well, the fact of the matter is, by the time I got done with this conversation with them, because I had to basically say, okay, so you don't want me to get a free education here. You want, and you don't want me to raise the minimum wage. So what am I supposed to do to get out of the poverty level that I'm in? And again, the thing came up, that's not my problem. Somebody should just accept that you're going to be where you're going to be at. Period. You
And
just
that-
don't have the fortitude to get out.
And that goes against the quote unquote American dream that anybody who works hard, their own two hands, can pull themselves out and live a prosperous life. Which we know is full of bullshit. That was only afforded to white males. But the fact of the matter is, until we understand that we as a people, as a species, live in this country, and the push for in the country, and people always always want to push for equality and everybody being together, and and the fact that you tell somebody, well, you just have to accept that you're just going to live this way forever, and that's just it for you. But we're supposed to live in a society where we all supposed to help each other out. It's false. It's bullshit.
But the illusion that you do it by yourself,
It's not true.
it's not true. I'm sorry. Even if you have to do some of the work, even if you have to do majority of the work by yourself, you don't do anything completely by yourself.
And it's true.
It's the thing about it is that every once in a while you have someone that comes along and makes you a sandwich, pushes you along, gives you a drink of water. If you're starting a company, you can't run a company completely by yourself. I'm sorry. You have to have someone come in and assist you with the business end of things. Someone to co-host with you.
Something.
Even
if you have a sole proprietorship in your business, meaning you just running it by yourself, unless you're telling me you're a certified CPA, you understand how to do your taxes, and unless you're a certified CPA, you cannot do your own taxes when it's time for you to do your business.
Even then, whenever product that you're selling,
you need
you need a consumer, you need someone to pay attention to you. You're not doing this by yourself.
Exactly.
You need some type of backup. Okay, in order to even move forward.
And I think the problem is people don't understand how consumer businesses work. They think, oh, I just sell a product, it's going to make money. No, you need people to buy that product. If nobody wants to buy your product, you don't make money. It's a supply and demand thing. Now, granted, that some people have done some shady things to make that demand so they can meet that supply. And that's where, your morality comes in. I remember it was a senator. I can't remember her name. It was a congresswoman. I can't remember her name. And she said that as long as morals and money are in conflict in this country, and it's sad to say, money turns the one out. And I think that's the mindset we need to change. We're so caught up in we gotta be the richest in this country without realizing that it doesn't advance us as a country. I mean, prime example is Cuba. Cuba is what many would consider a third world country.
Mm-hmm.
But their literacy rate is higher than ours. Is higher.
They also have free healthcare and free
healthcare
college.
And free college. They have doctors who have went to over 100 different countries and helped people. And they are what we consider a third world country.
So I don't even understand if Cuba can have free healthcare and free college for your students, and as well as Canada, and people may say, well, these countries have their own set of issues. Yeah, America does too.
We have many issues.
But we're supposed to be the world leaders. We're so confident in everything. Everybody like speaking America and all this other stuff. But we're the dumbest nation, and seem to be the most ignorant. I'm
gonna say Americans are stupid. I'm gonna say y'all stupid. Americans are stupid.
Some Americans are stupid.
Not all.
Some, but it's a good amount.
It's enough
in here that just refuse to learn, and then turn around and like to tell you how selfish they are. But hold on, you know what? Oh, I can't deal with that.
Musa.
The next thing I want to talk about, of course, is always politics. I was having a conversation, man, with this cab driver on the way to work. I take a lot of cabs here and there trying to get to work. But I was actually telling him about the previous conversation that we was having about the people in the game. And he wanted to tell me that he's a Hillary Clinton supporter. Now, honestly, I have my preference, Bernie Sanders, but I always try to figure out why other people vote differently.
And it's a common thing you should want to learn.
Right. So I asked the man, I said, okay, you like Hillary? He says, yes. And I said, why? And he says, quite simply, because she's going to get the black people out. And I'm like, well, I said, how? He says, she's just going to do it. And I said, so why are you voting for her again? What are her policies? Why do you think that she is going to be the best candidate for you? The man couldn't give me enough. He danced around the thing. So I said, look, one reason I started, telling him about Bernie Sanders, which I think is a better candidate. And the first thing out of his mouth was, this old white man ain't getting nothing out of me.
So you gonna trust an old white lady to do something for you? But
hold on. Let me finish. So he said, this old white man ain't gonna get anything out of me. And I said so I was like, wait. Did you look at anybody's policies? Before you just jumped and said, this old white man ain't getting anything. No, he's just an old white man. Dude, you have to look at people's policies. One reason why I vote, free college education, raising the minimum wage to $15, the health care, he's against Wall Street, putting money into the presidential election. He doesn't believe in super PACs.
He let Black Lives Matter people speak on stage.
Yeah,
you care about
all
black
these
people.
reasons why you should vote for Bernie. One reason why I don't like Hillary is because she invested in the Panama Papers. She wanted that trade deal to go in that took away American jobs and allow people to invest over into Panama without having to pay taxes here in America, which is horrible.
She took away Glass-Steagall.
Yep, took away Glass-Steagall. Well, no, that's underneath Clinton, but she supported the bill.
It's still the same thing.
No, but she supported the bill.
It's good enough.
She supported the bill. Let's be fair here. All right, that Glass-Steagall kept the big banks from merging, which doesn't allow the monopoly of the funds here in the U.S. and across the world. She also supported welfare reform, which caused lots of the black community to not have to work in order to receive welfare benefits that destroyed a generation. She also supported the mandatory minimums that put away so many black people for nonviolent offenses. It tore us up during the 90s and 2000s.
She also supported. She also was against the Civil Rights Act.
Not to mention that she's into private prisons, and private prisons are the worst idea because it monetizes people being locked up. So people now have an incentive to go out and lock people up.
Mainly us.
and put them in jail. That is crazy. Okay? So with that being said, I said, okay, so these are the reasons why I don't think she's the best candidate.
Especially coming from his standpoint.
Okay, and only thing he can say is that she sounds the most presidential.
The fuck does that mean?
All the rest of them don't sound presidential.
Really though? Really?
And I said, what? I said, did you even listen to anyone? No, but that old white man ain't getting my vote.
Okay, hold up. And I feel as though we're going to give you a little history lesson real quick. During the Civil Rights era, around the time when black people were building up, Jews were our closest allies for a good amount of time. They worked with us. They worked with us for a good amount of time. They were working with us. Mm-hmm. So to just ban Bernie Sanders as an old white guy who got arrested for the civil rights movement, who grew up in Brooklyn. I mean, yeah, he grew up in Brooklyn, but the point is, you have a guy who you've seen what he's done. The fact that he stood aside and got arrested for fighting for civil rights for us, not for him, for us as a people. Just picking about what the guy said, for us. Mm-hmm. Hillary was against that. the fact that under the Clintons, they buried the problems of institutional racism under just random bills, just buried a problem that just caused a worse situation later on down the road. Not only for black people, but for any person of color, period. Because it didn't just affect us. The mandatory minimums also affected the Hispanic community. It affected all of us. Every person of color that bill affected. It put us it detrimented us. Now, as far as the welfare reform act, it didn't just affect us. It affected poor whites too, and the many Trump supporters in certain states, Mississippi.
Oh fuck that shithole. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Mississippi is bad. I'm sorry if you live in Mississippi and you hear this. I'm sorry for your problems. Because there's a lot of shit coming out of Mississippi.
And which most white people, there's more white people on welfare than anybody. You have many people who just refuse to get on welfare simply out of pride, and they need it, and they just refuse to get on it simply out of pride. But it comes all down to what the previous episode we said, well, why people vote against their better interests. And I think, and it boils down to that. Oh, speaking of which, did you hear that Mississippi is trying to pass a law that allows the Religious Freedom Act, which allows basically religions to discriminate against.
Everybody take your business away from Mississippi. That's the only thing I can tell you.
Actually, this is what it was Disney, The Walking Dead, and a few other companies said if Georgia even thinks about doing that, they are out. They're out.
It's sad. It is completely sad that whole major businesses have to take away work opportunities from a state because the lawmakers are so far into their religion. I'm sorry, church and state people, put a barrier there. There's a reason why you need to remain neutral.
Right. Here's my thing. If you don't want to serve gay people in your business,
don't open up a business. Don't open up a public business.
Exactly. Point blank. And for my gay community, fuck going to a church to
don't
get
work
married.
with any people whatsoever. If your business, you don't want to serve gay people, you might as well don't open it because you don't need to serve any people. I'm sorry. If you are out here trying to make money, okay,
and you want to turn down money
because of what you think an outdated book said to it. I mean, no offense to anyone who isn't really following that doctrine, but at the same time, check your peoples.
It's an outdated. They have outdated concepts in that book.
Yeah, way outdated. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to go.
If we're gonna go against gay people, then let's go all the way. Stoning children. Let's go
exactly.
Forward. If you ain't for that, I don't want to hear it. But look, for the gay community, I would say this. You don't have to go to a Christian church to get married. That is just a tradition in America. Me personally, I say have your own private ceremonies. Go to a courthouse. Enjoy your life. Because at the end of the day, what you do who you do it with, behind closed doors, as long as y'all are two consenting adults, it's none of my goddamn business.
Thank you.
None of my business.
If you don't like gay marriage, don't get gay married. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Here's another thing, right? So, another conversation with a couple of people on, of course, I do a lot on my online gaming. We started to get into slavery.
Oh.
Okay, I'm black. The other two are white, and they jumped into. Well, I wish black people stop complaining about slavery so much.
Okay.
I'm not finished.
I had to get this out. Before we say that, when white people say this is my counter argument, I don't want to hear no more about 9/11. I don't want to hear no more about the Holocaust neither. They happened a long time ago. If you tell me I had to get over slavery because it happened a long time ago, I don't want to hear no more about the Holocaust or 9/11.
Okay, so let me finish my story, and then you can go on your rant. But I'm ranting now.
Go ahead.
Okay. And I wish black people would stop worrying about slavery were the words that came out of their mouth. And stop using slavery as an excuse on why they aren't doing this and why they aren't doing that. All right, there were other slaves besides black people. Asian people were enslaved.
That's not true.
The Irish were enslaved. Oh no, there's a thing. There was a thing in England. But the fact of the matter that I had to say to them, like, seriously, 400 years of slavery, people. 400 years of slavery. Okay, and we still are dealing from the facts. The fact that it is so ingrained in us right now that the quotes "good hair" or "man, you so black"
are still there is a prime example.
Yeah, you know, the fact that we can actually walk around and call each other niggers,
and it's okay.
And it's okay, but that's because slavery has been built up and within us so greatly. Okay, and to me, I had to say to him, I was like, look, even if so I'm not really sure about the Irish being locked up or in slavery, but the fact of the matter is, if you can blend in society and the system is actually geared and rigged for you to prosper. I'm sorry, white privilege is a thing. Okay, it doesn't make sense that a white person, all right, with a criminal record is more likely to get hired than a black person with a clean record.
Exactly. And me and a mom were talking, and a mom was having a conversation with the same people I was having a conversation about college with. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about race and wanted to bring it up. And, you know, one of the guys we watched movies with, he's white, older white guy. He said, well, black people slave black people too. I wasn't there for this conversation. But I had this conversation with him before, so, you know, I can believe that. And he explained to them that racism does exist. The fact that a white male with no college education will get hired over a black male with a college education, with a degree behind him, is ridiculous. Now, as far as when people want to bring up the Irish thing, and I will give them this. Yes, they in England, with the British and the French and some Germans, they did look at the Irish as lesser. But when it came to chattel slavery, the Irish people didn't really go through that. They went through indentured servitude, in which they came over to work. The family paid them to come over. They worked the X number of years. They free. They get to go about their way. Now, did they cheat them on them years? Absolutely. I totally agree with that. They did, but they never went through chattel slavery. And for those of you who don't know what chattel slavery is, they weren't whipped. They weren't beat. They weren't considered property. They weren't raped anytime an owner felt like it. They weren't treated that way. Now, to go further than that, many of the police forces, which were the first police force in America, was actually slave catchers, were ran by Irish. They were Irish. So they were still a step up from everybody else.
All right. And so look, this being said,
go ahead.
To a degree, some of that we can hear that. We can hear that. We can take that with a grain of salt, because I don't believe that that should be our focus as black people, is that we were enslaved and this happened. No, we do need to take some steps forward and try to fix that and mend that situation. You know, it's okay to look back at your past, but you got to turn around and look forward too.
Right. And I totally agree. And I was talking to somebody, and he's Asian, and another guy was black, and they like to bring up, you know, well, racism isn't, you know, y'all. And this is his words. My generation, he says, is soft, because back in his day, you know, that was really racism. We don't go through racism now. Back when I was young, that was racism, but they got it easy now. Again, and I consider him one of them old granddad motherfuckers. You seen the Boondocks, right?
Yeah.
Remember how granddad acts? I was in the civil rights and all this other bullshit, but because his name didn't get written down.
Hey!
I was there too.
I was there when Rosa Parks got kicked off the bus. You know what I mean? Oh,
he's one of them. But the funny thing is, when I had the conversation with an Asian guy, and how he always like to brings up that in Vietnam, China had dominated and enslaved them for thousands and thousands of years. And I don't take that away from him. Now, when we talk, he brings up these conversations. Well, why black people don't do this? Why black people don't do that? And I'm like, all right, well, I don't speak for all black people, but this is what I can tell you from what I researched and what I've been through and from what I've seen. This is what I can give you. Yes, you have institutional racism. These things exist. You have racial profiling. Those things do exist. You have unequal education opportunities. You have many of these things. Then he goes on to say, well, black people need to stop complaining like you going out there and you going to school. I said, and I had to check him. I had to check him. And I had to tell him, don't make me your token. You're not going to make me your token in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm one person out of 300 million plus people in this country. And you're narrowing your scope down because you see me do it. Because I say it, that means it must be true for all black people. No, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to play this game. And I feel as though, and this is my personal opinion, we as black people, we try so hard to accept everybody else. And like you said, it goes to the point where I had people who say, well, I'll let a white person call me the N-word. I don't
The
use
nigga.
it. I don't
say nigga. We can say nigga on the show.
I know we can't. I choose not to use the word.
Okay.
That because, it's just a word and it makes me feel, because we friends, I will not. I don't let black people call me that. I will not let white people. I will let nobody. I sat in the car with one of my friends who's he's Filipino. We sat in the car for 5 hours arguing this point on why I won't let him call me that. And I'm like, you're not just gonna come. Well, other black friends, and that's the problem with other ethnicities that feels because one black friend or one black person they know let them do it, or they seen one black person do something. That is the standard set for every other black person they come in contact with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the issue I find is once we as a people do that, and we're not just talking about one, we're talking about multitudes of white people or Asians repeatedly doing something to us, and we assume that, all right, that's how all of them are, we're criminalized for it. We're deemed that we're not supposed to do that. Granted, I do not believe in categorizing everybody the same because of what one specific individual did. That means that everybody that looks like that individual is like that. But I feel as though we as a people, we need to stop catering to everybody else's fears. And stop trying to make ourselves feel as though we have to act a certain way to fit in. So what if your name is LaQuisha? So the fuck what? Does not mean just because your name LaQuisha and you got braids, you're any less better than Sasha or Amy Chan or any of those people. I'm not saying Amy Chan. I know somebody named Amy. I'm not gonna put a full nothing there, but the point is, you're no less than them. You are equal to them. And the fact that, you having a quote-unquote ethnic sounding name makes you unhireable versus somebody with a white sounding name is stupid.
You know what? This is the thing, and this goes across our people, this goes across everybody's people. We need to spend more time in each other's circles. The thing about it is that we're so quick to place that other sign on people, and once they get marked as other,
that's it.
That's it. Yeah, we're ready to destroy them. There's something to be feared, us and them. These people aren't like me. That is the issue. We can probably get rid of this selfish society because it's just pure being selfish. If we learn to see that from the other person's perspective. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, when we go back and we talk about the college thing and someone says, why should I pay for your college and this is not my problem, that I can sort of see what you on a very small individual and very narrow way of saying, okay, I can understand that. Okay, you're basically just saying, I worked hard to get here. Why can't you do the same thing? Well, I oftentimes find that those individuals have less information on the world around them and do not understand that the world doesn't function the way they oftentimes think. And one way to counteract that is to meet and talk to different people, and that way you can understand that, okay, you are able to do that, and you may be able to teach other people how to do that, but you may have to pull along and help other people to get to where you are. Most people don't understand things that are outside of their general bubble.
And I agree. And even talking to them, they brought this conversation of, we was at work one day, and you know, black couple came in. It was coming. I was talking to them, and we were discussing, you know, racial issues and black people coming up. Mind you, she chimed her 2 cents, since even though she never lived that and she can never live that because she's of a different ethnicity. But me and them started talking, and I had to interrupt them because I felt what she was saying was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, look, the problem is that we don't value education within us. We let other people tell us that we shouldn't go get an education.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't help each other. Now, she wanted to jump in and say, yeah, you know, we don't do that neither, blah, blah, blah. And I feel as though when you have somebody who reach to try to break this bridge of we're all the same, and don't get me wrong, in the Asian community, from what I hear from many different, from like Filipinos, Vietnamese, and Hungs and stuff like that, Chinese people are what white people are to us. From what I hear, like during, you know, when Japan was invading everybody, Japan was hated by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what China is now to many people. They're what white people are to us. A lot of Asians feel that's what China is to them, and I feel as though those things need to be discussed because they create a sense of, okay, I see where you're coming from, when we can relate things that we go through, not just on those issues but everything else. We can like the same thing, that's fine, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel as though that level of respect, and like you said, the information you have is flawed. Like, prime example with them, they don't research anything, and I noticed that. Mm-hmm. YouTube is like the main source for them. Like, anything they say on YouTube must be true, and it's like, no, it's like the Wikipedia.
Yeah, anybody can post, and it's a good place to find references, but you need to do additional research. But look, we need to get out of here. I know we done ran it for a good 46 minutes.
That's about average. Close to average.
Okay, but you know, usually, you know, a little bit more jokes and fan.
Yeah, but I have felt that we need to get this out of our systems. You know, give people something to think about.
Yeah. All right, people. Comment, like us. We're still trying to build this show and trying to actually make it as the voice of the community. All right. Any topics you guys want to hear, put that on the page. This is where you can find us. Facebook.com/AskLearnQuestion. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube at Let Me Ask You a Question. Twitter is at AskLearnQuestion. Email us at asklearnquestion@gmail.com. All right, thanks for listening, guys. Catch y'all next time.
I was trying to tell you I still got the video.